We'll start by untrussing our bird to get to the cavity. Where we're going to find the giblets, which are going to make a lovely gravy, as well as a lot of fat. Geese being wild birds that spend a lot of time in cold water, they need a way to keep warm, and that fat is it. But for us, that fat is going to turn into liquid gold later, so make sure you get it all out so your meat isn't too fatty. And put your harvested fat to one side, ready for rendering later. Next, we're going to make an aromatic rub for our goose with the zest from a couple of oranges and a lemon. And our secret Christmas spiced barbecue rub, which isn't all that secret if you go to our Substack where you can find the recipe. Then we'll slice up those citrus fruits along with a couple of apples and a red onion to drop into our goose cavity. Then we'll truss it back up. Bag up the fat, and prick the skin. And pricking the skin here is going to do two things. It's going to allow all those lovely aromats to permeate that fat and flesh, not to mention the smoke flavour, and it's also going to allow that fat to render out as the bird smokes, leaving you with a delicious, flavoursome, juicy, tender result. And now we want to get all over this bird with that dry rub, and this is a dry aromatic rub. It is not a brine, because you don't need to brine a bird like a goose. In fact, if you do brine a goose, you risk not crisping up that skin. And if you'd be interested to find out why that is, let me know in the comments. And this rub is too good to waste, so we're even going to get some down in that cavity with those fruits and onions. Then it's over to the fridge, where she'll rest uncovered for the next 48 hours, giving us plenty of time to make our glaze, which is a bit of honey, some more of that Pip Wizard Christmas barbecue rub, a touch of vanilla, and some rum liqueur. And after her 48-hour rest, she's now ready for a French trim, which basically just means I'm going to take the ends of those wings off and clean them up for presentation purposes. And then it's outside to smoke. And you'll see I've already inserted our wireless Meter Plus probe. I've also laid down a couple of trays to capture that fat as it renders from the bird while it smokes. And I'm also going to insert our Masterbuilt probe as well, because two independent probes are better than one. And of course, we want to add our harvested fat to one of those pans as well, so it can render and pick up all those lovely flavours of applewood and cherrywood while our goose smokes. For centuries, goose was the Christmas bird. Rich, fatty, proper feast food. And its aroma meant the season had well and truly started. Families would club together just to buy one big enough to share around. And then the usurper arrived. Turkey came from the New World way back in the 1500s. It was exotic stuff at first, rare, expensive, only for the fancy tables. But over the next few centuries, it spread. And by Victorian times, the turkey had well and truly taken over. Bigger, leaner, and easier to feed a crowd. Even Queen Victoria herself had swapped her goose for turkey. And that was that. The goose had lost her crown. These days, well, the numbers well and truly tell the story. Every Christmas, we roast nearly 9 million turkeys. And only about 250,000 geese. So that means 2% of Brits still pick goose for their Christmas dinner, and that's it. Pretty much all the rest, it's all turkey. But for some, there's nothing quite like that rich, dark meat flavour. And of course, that lovely golden fat that's perfect for roast potatoes that you only get from a goose. So, who knows? Maybe she is ready for a comeback. But for tonight at least, Queen Goose is well and truly back on her throne in the shack. So after a couple of hours, our queen is ready for her glaze, and we're not too far away from that 130 target here, so we'll be pulling her shortly, ready for the next phase. And that next phase is to remove the legs from our bird now, because they're going to cook at a different rate to the breast. So we're going to continue to roast those in the fat we've already rendered, and we're just going to pop the crown back on for maybe another half an hour, getting her up to that 130, 135 temp range before having a good long rest. And there she is, smoky, gamey, decadent, a veritable taste of history. And I've got to say, I do love turkey, but there's just something extra special about this smoked goose, and I would encourage you to make it this holiday if you get the opportunity. you very much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this one, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you did, and we look forward to seeing you next time.